Good. How are you?
Good. I'm just finishing up my lunch.
And what are you having for lunch today?
I just had something easy, so I didn't get stuff stuck in my teeth. I just got crackers and cheese and tomato and pickles.
Well, it's like my favorite lunch. I had
Yeah,
a little hummus, and I'm like,
Oh yeah, I don't have any hummus. That would be good.
I have lots in my fridge.
Yeah. You're a little
Um,
far from me, but not as far as maybe a lot of our attendees because we're both in Canada.
I know, and we're only a couple hours, so it's great.
It's true.
Today I was really lucky. Marco, we do a little thing at the office where we actually take turns who's going to make lunch.
Okay.
And today it was Marco's turn.
Oh, nice. What do you make?
He made chili with ground turkey, and then it was nice and healthy, but then a whole bunch of garlic bread on the side.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Makes it more fun.
And Tanya brought in, because, we're trying to be healthy. Tanya, she brings in some ice cream sandwiches, holiday themed ones. So
Ah,
a little treat for
nice.
later. Yeah, we're a little spoiled.
Mm.
So, yeah. So I'm almost done mine, but, we'll have a
Yes.
couple bites, see how it goes. It was delicious.
I think look good. I think Wendy just said hi. Hi, Wendy.
Hey, Wendy and Drew. So this is a special edition. We're doing a lunch and learn together just to accommodate some timing, switch things up a bit, help some of the people in the West Coast and the East Coast. We can kind of meet in the middle somewhere. And today we're talking all about the welcome package, the importance of that, and how you can use that to set the mood and set expectations with clients.
For sure. It's so important.
So we made some notes on how we want to do a flow on this one, guys, because we just want to do a quick shout out and say how happy we are by the amount of people who signed up for this webinar. We are over 300 interior designers, decorators have signed up. Yes. So
awesome.
Obviously, this is a topic that is dear to your heart and you want to learn more about. So hopefully today you'll find this very useful.
I think getting organized, right? Having those tools and getting organized and having something to hand and something you can speak through with your client. I mean, that's always such a bonus, right?
Yeah.
It's always, and we always want to know how other people do it and how do you do it? And so I think it's great. Yeah, this is great, guys.
So I think what we're going to do today, as well as if you have questions, normally we do them at the end, but we're going to do some of them as we go. So if there's questions that people have, feel free to type them in and we'll go from there. Okay, so we wanted to start with the first thing was importance of setting client expectations before the project even starts. Did you want to start off with that, Claire? Because you've got some really great ideas.
Yeah, sure. So I always say, I'll just preempt it with saying that I always say if you do these three things with your clients and in your business, then you should never have any problems. One is manage clients' expectations, which we're talking about, educate the client, which is also wrapped up in the welcome package, and have effectively communicate. So all of these things really happen with the welcome package, which is great. So I just find that if you're managing your clients' expectations, because the one thing that, I just wanted to mention too is that it's really easy for us to forget that we do this every single day and we know our processes and we understand how we work and how we do our designer discounts or the hours that we work. And even though you assume that clients are checking out your website or if they found you on Houzz or Facebook or wherever they're finding you, you kind of think like that they're probably stalking you a little bit and that they're checking you out and they're going and looking at your stuff, but it's not always the case. And especially if it's a referral, right? Because someone will just walk into someone's house and say, wow, I love, who did this? And they'll give a card or they'll say, here, put their number in your phone. And we just assume that people know what we do, and we can't assume that because when, what happens when we assume, right? Yeah. We know that. Yes, out of you and me.
I love that saying.
I know. I just told my son that the other day. He was like, oh, wow, that's interesting.
How old is your son?
13.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I'm sure I learned that lesson.
Yeah.
Around there. I'm like, I don't know if I get it.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
He got it. So I think that's really important too. Not just for us, just not to assume that we have assumed that clients kind of seen all of our stuff on the website and that, they know how we work, So I think that's important.
Huge point there. I like that because the idea of assuming it's dangerous, right? So what we do day to day, we understand how and the importance of setting a meeting, the time of that meeting, what happens when there's late payments, the process of executing a project from beginning to end. We understand all of that. This clients may not have ever worked on a design project before. They may have done one before.
Yep.
Right? We don't know. We don't know what they've done. And so assuming is dangerous. And assuming opens the doors for frustrations and confusion later on.
Absolutely.
So I think we're just really trying to hit home that you have to set the expectations on, or how do you work, right? Like,
Yeah.
I say this
Well,
all the time.
and it puts everybody at ease, right? Like it puts, like, then at least the client, you're setting the parameters right from the start. It's not like, hey, you can text me at any time, I'll reply to you at midnight, and that sort of thing. Like, it's letting them know, like, hey, no, these are the hours that I work, or this is how I work, and this is what, this is how the relationship tends to work. I mean, obviously you can be flexible in in certain things, right? But yeah, managing those expectations right from the start. And there's so many different things that you can manage their expectations on, which we'll talk about in the welcome letter, right, Sarah? But
Yeah.
I think that that's just making sure that you are educating them, letting them know how you work, and just making sure that it's really important to communicate with them, for sure.
Yeah, because like here's a scenario, right? Like if you have a strict policy that if a client cancels a meeting or isn't available or is late and you want to be paid for that time, which you should be, your choice. But if you don't outline that expectation up front, you're going to have a problem later, right? There's this thing that we use a lot where we say, like, be proactive, not reactive. Right?
That's right.
And how can you be proactive and answer very tough questions, such as what happens if I don't pay on time? What happens if I miss a meeting? Like, you can have all these tough answers to these tough questions.
Yeah.
And through things like your welcome package. It is
exactly
a friendly tool that allows you to set the standards of how you work and answer those questions and just manage everybody's expectations. And then, which leads us into finding that ideal client, which we've talked about.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I just wanted to say on that too is, because you hit the nail on the head. Like, because later, like, let's just say you didn't explain how you deal with late payments, or, if they miss a meeting, you can't just email them the next day and go, well, you never showed up and that's going to be $200 fee. Cause they're going to be like, well, whoa, if you didn't explain that to them, it wasn't something you included as part of your welcome package, then they're not going to know. And then they're going to get pissed off, and you're pissed off because they missed the meeting.
That's right.
Right. And they're upset because they never knew how you worked in the first place because you never told them.
Exactly. And then let's think, what happens in that situation? So let's say you don't email them because you don't feel like you can. You're not in the right to be able to. So now you harbor all these feelings. You're frustrated. And what's happening is you're building a negative relationship with your client, who's supposed to be your partner in doing a successful project. So you harbor up these frustrations, and then you likely have learned a tough lesson. So now you bury it in a contract, and it's just one more thing, which it should be in there anyways. But there's a great way. The welcome tool, we're going to go over a bit more, obviously, is it can be lighthearted. It can be simple, to the point.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be heavy, right?
No, in
fact, it shouldn't be heavy.
Yeah, I think it should be the opposite. So we'll go over that a bit more.
For sure.
So we just wanted to talk. So we started off, basically, we just want to talk about setting expectations, why it's important, how we can use the tool. So a big part of today is, what the heck is a welcome package? And what are we going to do with it?
Sorry, hon, you wanted to talk about the ideal client, and then did you want to talk about that for a second? Yeah. So setting the expectations will help you find your ideal client.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you were going to chime in. Okay, so yeah, really it's about, you and I talked a lot about this yesterday, which is reiterating, right? It's not necessarily finding a client who, I love mid-century. Like, I don't need to have a client that absolutely loves mid-century decor, but I need to have a client that likes to work the way I like to work, that is very organized. And I like clients that like to be a part of the process, but they also know their boundaries, right? Like, these are pretty specific things, but that's my ideal client. And I can try to get those type of clients by outlining that in my welcome package. When I use certain verbiage, this is the way I work, this is how I expect to be paid, this is how I do communication, right?
Yes.
I think that it's so powerful to finding that ideal client that you want.
It is, absolutely. And the one thing that I always say to clients too is, I say to them in the initial consultation meeting, is it's the communication. Again, I say, like, always feel like, that you can talk to me. Like, hopefully I'm always 2 steps ahead and you never have any questions. But if you do, make sure that, this is how you contact me. And I think too, when clients see that you're organized, and if you are organized and that's how you run your business, which you should, and then you're going to attract the clients who also are like, oh, I like the fact that he or she is organized, and I like the fact that they have these processes. If they don't like that, or if they're like, oh, you're not a little bit more by the seat of your pants, and oh, this seems a little bit, then maybe they're not your ideal client, right? If they just want to be like, well, I just needed you for a couple things, and I didn't know we were going to get into, like, a few FAQs. This is a bit much for you. Then you're like, you know what? That's fine. Then maybe we're not compatible. Because I'm not so loosey-goosey. I like you to know, I think it's important that you know how I work. And I know we talk about this and people say, like, with the ideal client, and they say, like, oh, the ideal client. And, they do exist, like, they totally exist. And for me, the ideal client, like you said, like it doesn't have to be like a certain style. Like, I mean, if someone wants Baroque, I'm like, I'm probably not your girl, right?
Probably
But,
not your girl.
you know, I'm not your girl for
That's
that.
like me with some
But
French stuff.
right. So,
Yeah,
and
you're right.
people can see that from your website, your portfolio. That if you know, that's another story. Um, but also, you know, I just want clients to value me. To me, it doesn't matter what age they are. It doesn't matter, you know, where they live. It doesn't matter if they have kids. At the end of the day, if I have somebody who, you know, values the service, they recognize that they need the service, and then they're going to understand the process, and they're like, oh yes, I want to understand this process, and she's got processes. To me, that's my ideal client, right? It's anybody who's going to value my service, knows that they need our help, and knows that they can't do it on their own. That's, you know, again, it's not in a certain category for me. I just want to kind of put
I
that out
love
there,
that.
because sometimes people say like my ideal client's between 40 and 60, and it depends if you're dealing with aging clients and that's what your niche is, or you're dealing with, you know, people who just had babies and you do nurseries, then it's different, right? You're, you know, but for me, it's just if you value what I do, then, and you're
I
willing to pay
love
me,
that. That's a great way to,
right?
we can be really smart and figure out some of the, like figure out what values are important to us. So for you, it's being respected, it's understanding the process, it's right, open
Yep.
communication. Like these are things that you value, so you can cater your welcome letter, welcome package to meet those kind of expectations. This is what's really key about it is
For sure.
and whether those are your values, or maybe you do focus on children's rooms, or you do focus on something, so now you can cater your stuff that way, is that I'm a very whimsical, lighthearted person, this is what I value, you know, I do work this way and in this, you know, format. If this
Yep.
speaks to you, we can work together, right? I think that I
For
love
sure.
it. I think it's
For
just a
sure.
really great way to weed out who's not the right fit. And that
Yeah, because you
welcome
don't want to
letter,
work with them anyway. You don't
yeah,
want to work if
because
they're not your ideal client. You don't want to work with them because, like you said, you're going to get resentful later on, and right?
yeah, and it's always at the worst part, that resentful part, right? It's
Yes.
really fun at the beginning and high
Yeah, they're
energy, and you're bouncing, ready to
excited.
go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And then it gets to like the meat and potatoes of the project, and we're executing and we're ordering and we're dealing with things on back order, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And now there's more money. And this is where,
Yeah.
right? Or you said you'd order this and da da da, right? For the problems come. I'm just going to take a quick glance at the questions here for a quick
Yes.
moment. Well, you have a bite there.
Okay, good. I can have a bite to eat.
Yeah. So Jessica asked, like most of us, I offer a variety of services, from something as simple and short as a color consultation to an e-design mood board, in-depth design consultation to larger projects like phased renovations or decorating. How do you go about tweaking a welcome package for these different things? Do you use the same packet, or do you modify it? And what point? And at what point for simpler things should the packet be provided? Thank you
I
for your
can't see
time
that
and wonderful
question
advice.
because I think. Sorry, from which? Where's that question? Is it up higher? Is it Jessica?
Yeah, it's from Jessica. Yeah. So Lisa Jones is up above too, but I'm going to cover that one in a moment.
Okay. So she's basically just asking, like, when you offer a bunch of different services, how do you kind of put that in the welcome letter? Is that what she's asking?
Yeah. And so do you modify yours for different types of projects, or do you keep the
No,
same thing?
no, I have the same thing. So I mean, basically, I try to keep it as simple as possible, like, you know, just to let them know, like, the welcome package, we should probably just kind of mention here too. Like, I think we did. I mean, you know, you want to put information in it, but you don't want it to be like a 10-page document. You know, it's not, you know, they're never going to read through all that, right? So for me, I'm literally like, you know, I say to clients, like, I offer these services. Like, I either do like an initial consultation for design and color ideas, or we do fully custom rooms, you know, from start to finish, or I do a lot of 3D designs for main floor redesigns, and I can also help you pick your finishes. You know, so I do offer a lot of those different things too, Jessica, but I don't go into major depth in all of them because I have it on my website. So, you know, again, in the welcome package, thank you, Madison. My assistant just made me a cup of tea.
Oh.
In the welcome package, you know, you can keep it bullet pointed. And then what I would recommend, I don't know, Sarah, you know, if you would, but what I recommend is, like, it is something that you can absolutely send out to them, and we'll go through how you can do that as well. But I also like to sit down with them and go through it. And then that's when you can get into a little more detail on each one. But you don't need the whole thing to be like wordy, because they're never going to read it anyway.
That's right. This is a perfect segue into like what it is and what goes into it. So I think you, again, exactly that, not wordy and not many pages. And I don't think it, speaking here to Jessica a bit too, don't think it needs to be necessarily service specific. That's not the point here. This is big picture, how you work. This is to put their mind at ease. Let's say they're spending $50,000 on this project, right? Mm-hmm. You need to make them really comfortable. At this point, they haven't signed with you necessarily, and they haven't given you any money, but, you know, in theory, they're going to be spending a bunch of cash with you. So how do we make them feel really comfortable? And that's what I use. Like, how do you answer the tough questions? Like, so some stuff on the welcome pack. And by the way, we're going to show you an example, and you'll also receive a copy of one in the follow-up email that comes out after the webinar. So you'll have a version that you'll be able to edit for your own company. But some of the ideas that we had were an initial welcome section, right? So who is your company? Really quick, one-liner. Who's your company? What's your team's magic? What's something special about you?
Almost like your mission statement.
Yeah, get them excited to work with you. So they've obviously come to a point where they visit your website. They know enough about you. Just a one-liner. Like, why did you choose Claire? Why is Claire the one that you want to work with, right? So just remind them. What you can expect. So again, this relates to our first topic. Using the section to basically include your business hours, how you communicate with clients, typical response times, guys. This is really simple, not full paragraphs, just bullet points.
Yeah.
Because here I'm the client, and I think that the wrong tile has been dropped off, and I'm not sure. And it's 9 o'clock at night. Do I immediately pick up my cell phone and I text Claire? Do I wait till the next morning? This is a great way. And how do I get a hold of Claire? Right? And so I can see on the welcome package, Claire's offered to give the cell phone and says not after 5. I don't know. I'm just making it up, right?
Right.
It's your business.
Or they can send it, but if you just let them know that you're not going to respond.
That's right.
Right? Your hours of work. You let them know your hours of work. And that's what I do. I find that people really respect that. So I'll say like my hours are between 9:30 to 3:30. Now we all know I don't work 9:30 to 3:30, right? We're all working until like 10 or 11, and I say to clients, I have little kids, I like to be there before they go to school. I like to be there for when they come home from school. So I may see your email. I may see your, that you left a message, but unless it's an emergency, which I don't really have emergencies, then I'm going to respond in my time that I say here, which is between 9:30 and 3:30. And again, and most people are like, oh, I get it too. Yeah, we have kids, and oh, you can't be working all hours of the day, and and again, that's where I find you're also just building that relationship because you're having conversations, saying, hey, but I have kids, and Yeah,
here's the expectation.
I'm human.
We do that at my Doma studio. We do that all the time. We set expectations of how quickly we respond to things, when you can hear from us, how do we operate around holidays? Like, we put it out there. We don't want people to be upset, frustrated. Hey, guess what? We have families. This is a time to celebrate. It's a standard message we typically send out around the holidays. Same thing. You can expect slower wait times because we also want to spend this time with our family. If it's an emergency, use this to contact us. We're here for you. Right? Like, it's all about having those. Someone once told me this, and that someone is Luann Nigara. It's all about having answering the tough questions before you have to, right? So
answering them up front.
Why not? Put it out there. You're not going to scare them. There's a great little comment here just saying it'd be nice to see an example of one, and I'm going to lead into that in a couple of minutes. I just kind of want to talk about it as a high level, and then I'll do some screen sharing and we'll show an example.
So your hours, we went through hours of work.
Your hours, how you communicate, typical response times, what to expect. It's not, you send an email, I'm not going to respond to you necessarily in 15 minutes, or maybe you are. Maybe you have an assistant and sits there all day, and that's what they do. How we'll work together. So important. So this kind of leads into it doesn't really matter whether it's a color consultation or a full renovation. This is where you want to talk about your high level process. So things like, so basically, what can they expect? Do you use software for contract sign-offs and documents? Do you use emails? Are you a face-to-face for everything? Is that the way you operate your business? What can they expect from you, right? Worst case is, I'll use my own stuff as an example. I obviously do use my Doma Studio to manage my projects. And the worst thing that could happen is have a client say, okay, great, Sarah, I want to work with you, and expect that every single decision we need to make is in person. When I don't bill for that, right? Like, I don't bill for a meeting every single time. Every time we need to make a decision, we don't necessarily need to do that in person, right? I like to use the software to manage that. So this is a great way to say, here's a point, like, I use X to manage my projects, and we do meetings from time to time in person. We set those out in the scope of work, and this is what you can expect, and we'll plan this out in advance. This is a great way that you can set that up. So, if they have a question, you're not driving over to their house necessarily, or maybe you are, right? That's up to you.
Yeah.
But,
don't be doing that. It's a lot of gas and time.
Nobody got time.
Unless you only have one client, and then you just want to build the crap out of them, which
then won't last
very long. That won't last very long.
Then you can drive around all you want.
Yeah.
Oh, also include, I'm sorry, I'm just reading from Bethany. She says, I also include what I expect their response time to be. Ooh, I like that. That's good. So that's really important.
It is, that is a good point, actually, because I know we talk about this sometimes in my interior design group, and one of the things that I mean, this is kind of like, I literally have clients that I've been working with for about 2.5 years, and we were supposed to install drapery in February, and they were delayed on a flight, and I'm still, waiting. I heard from them last week, and then they're like, oh, can you come on Saturday? And I was like, no, it's been 8 months, and I can't just
No.
but so that's kind of a very long, I just know that I know them by now, but yeah, it's really important too. Yeah. So clients need to understand that if you're waiting on an answer for something, and because we know things in this industry can get back ordered, or you need to know if they're happy with the dye lot. Maybe it wasn't the same for this piece of fabric, and that they're only going to hold it for 2 weeks, and if they're waiting 3 weeks to get back to you, right? So that's a really good point. I really like that point.
Yeah, I can actually speak to that one. I've had that happen and how to deal with it. And I was very proud of myself because I put it in the welcome packet as well as in my contract. But I was doing a kitchen consultation for a client that I'd already previously done a very large master bath bedroom reno for them. So they hired me again to do the kitchen, and they asked me, and I said, okay, I'm happy to do this, but we have a 6-month time frame at maximum from start to finish. I said to them, I was upfront, I was like, I am going to be having a baby during the end of this process.
Great
so, like,
excuse. Great excuse.
I was like, I have an end, like, we can't go past. So that means you have to stay on track. And if you're okay with that, then we can do this. Great. So we get down the process. Christmas time comes, it starts to slow down. They're not making decisions. They're not sure. I said to them, okay, like you're, at this point in February, that's kind of where we're going to, if we're not at a certain point, we need to stop. I need to hand you off to someone else because I'm not going to have the time to dive into a full renovation. And they weren't really responsive. And so then I said to them, okay, well, we've now hit that point. It's been great working with you. I'm like, but I need to invoice you for the remainder of this project. And that was in my contract. I said to them, like, the consultation fee for the kitchen was a flat rate. At that point, they had paid 50%. And I said, if we aren't completed by this date, the balance will be owing regardless of what we've done up until that point.
Because you've set that time aside too, right? You've maybe turned down clients, right? You haven't taken on any more projects. So you're like, I'm going to be working on this one.
Yeah, and it felt great. Good. And they didn't complain because I showed them up front in the contract when we signed it earlier. I said, you just have to pay the balance of this. It wasn't an absurd amount of money, but it was a good chunk of change. I said, this is the result of you not doing what you said you were going to do. Yeah. So it's the same thing if I don't do it.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. And I know that also the other thing you can put into, this is getting more into contracts, but you could mention it in the welcome letter, but startup fees, restart fees. So, if I don't hear from you, and it's been like 5 weeks, and you want to start again, well, now I didn't know if you were still going to work with me because I haven't heard from you. So there'll be a restart fee because sometimes it also takes a while to get your head back into the project, right? So those could be things, again, that you don't go into massive detail in the welcome package, but you can bullet point them and then discuss it when you see them in person.
I love that. It's so smart because they think their project is top of mind for you all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, right? Like, even though they have disappeared for so many weeks, I think you're just waiting for them. Right?
Yeah, for sure. So and then when they're ready, it's like, oh, great. Now you're ready. Great. It's been 5 months, but I'm ready now. You're ready. I've been waiting for you.
I've been waiting for you. Yeah. I said you're doing it like that.
Yeah. So I'm just waiting for that call. Right.
Yeah. Okay, question here from Drew. He says, I'm considering doing a welcome package and dropping them into my pre-made design packages. I'm hoping to turn folks from buying a single design package onto getting my personalized services for other spaces in their homes. Is this something that could be workable in your view to upsell potential clients? Absolutely. So that's going to lead into when I show a little bit about how to deliver the welcome package, Drew. I'm going to show you an example, but absolutely you can put a welcome package in with a smaller pre-made design package. Again, you're just giving added value, right? You create one welcome package and thanks for buying this pre-made design package,
you could just tweak it, right? Tweak it as you need to.
And you say, hey, if you run into any, like, thanks for buying this. Here's what you can expect. All this stuff is easy to find online, and you can self-serve and DIY this project. But should you run into need more help, and you want to take this project a bit more custom, I'm your man to do it, right? And this is how to do it. Here's how to contact me. Here's how to book time. Absolutely drop a link to your calendar because make it easy for them. Use it as an upsell.
Yeah, for sure. So I just noticed that someone else is saying, so you would send this once the client signs on to work with you, correct? Or if the client is searching for a designer and wants info from you, should you send it then? So for me, I mean, I would send it like before you even work with them. Like you could like, you could, when once they've inquired with you, then you can reply and you can say, okay, so I usually reply with a drafted email and then I can have attachment to my kind of welcome pack to, I call it an outline of services is actually what I call it. And then that way they can see, and again, don't assume that they've read it, which is why I'll talk to you about how I do that in the initial consultation. But yeah, so I don't think this has to be once they've signed on with you. I think it's important, like we mentioned at the beginning, that you let them know right from the beginning how, because so you're setting those expectations, and then they can say, hey, this is how I work. Welcome to creating contrast designs, and this is how we work with somebody. Let us know, and again, this is, I always say this to people too, like, it's your business. We're giving you these great tools, we're giving you some ideas, and we're all having this great chat about it. But I mean, at the end of the day, you have to decide, like, when does it make sense for you in your process to give it to your client, right?
Yeah.
But I think early on,
I would say early on as well,
of
generally.
course,
I mean,
the
everybody's
welcome,
business
right?
is different, but early on, again, vet out the people who don't like the way you do things. Much easier to have a conversation about, like, let's say you take all your payments 100% upfront. That's the way you do things. You can write it really nicely in your welcome package.
Yeah.
But let's say you get a client's like, I don't like that. Like, I don't want to pay upfront. Da da da. Well, then you don't want to work with them.
Yeah.
Later in the process when money comes into the conversation. Let's weed them out now.
For sure. And would you also say, Sarah, that this is something, would you have it kind of on your website before you even talk to a client? Or do you say that the welcome pack is like, you're not going to keep it, it's not going to be like a section on your website that says like what to expect, like kind of like an FAQ? Or would you say once you have the conversation?
The welcome package is generally a summary of many different things that do live on your website, because the first step is people come to your website and they vet you. They're going to look at your FAQ.
Yeah.
They're going to go through everything. They'll look at your services, your rates, etc. Right? So then the welcome packet is basically the high level points from those different sections, all summarized into one nice, easy, pretty doc that you would then use either via email or in person or through a client management software that you're then delivering it to them. So it's like a nice little package, right?
Yes.
You're basically rewriting what's on your website.
Yeah, we all like something wrapped up in a little bow, right? And just summarizing, like you say, like, not, the website could go into more detail and you can go into more detail later, but initially it's just pretty bullet points and keeping it, to the point.
Yeah, it feels good. Think of any time you wanted to hire a professional for something, and when you get a summary of what they're offering you, especially if it's not something you're comfortable with, like, I don't know, say it's an HVAC person or a lawyer or something. It'd be nice to just say, like, oh, here's what I offer. Nice and clean. And here's what we talked about. And you're like, okay, I feel at ease. Take my money. Right? I want to work together.
And that's actually a really good point, is that if we put ourselves in the other person's shoes. So like if we say, like, okay, if I'm working with a lawyer, like we've just bought a condo, it's going to be a rental property, we really don't know what we're doing. So it would be really nice if the lawyer's been pretty loosey-goosey about stuff. They haven't even invoiced us yet. But it would have been kind of nice to have something from them to just say, this is the process of when you're buying, a house, or this is how we work with a client, and these are our hours. And we never got any of that. I'm just emailing her at any hours of the day. And if she emails me that night, like, I don't really know how she works. So sometimes it might be nice to kind of think, what would I like if it was me in that position?
I'm derailing us a bit, but I agree with you. We just recently bought a house too, and it's the same thing. It's all about the communication, the expectations. We love our lawyer. It's been actually wonderful. However, communication was not great. And in the end, it left us, as Tanya actually said to me, like, you don't buy a house every single day. So it's their job to make you feel comfortable. I have bought a house before, but I hadn't bought a house in 6 years.
Yeah.
Right. So all of a sudden, this process is new again. And I trust them that they know what they're doing, but it is, as your job as the professional, is to put the client's mind at ease.
Yes.
Right. To make them feel comfortable, know that you're trustworthy. How are you going to communicate? All of that stuff. It's just so important. And
the other thing on that, sorry, Sarah, too, I was just going to say, is that you brought up a good point, is that maybe they have worked with a different designer before, and for whatever reason, they seeked out a new designer this time. Maybe they moved and, different location, or something happened, whatever. So maybe and that's another, because if they've worked with someone else who either did or didn't have a welcome pack, but we all work so different, right? So again, they might be like, oh, well, last time because I've had people say it to me, well, last time I worked with this designer, she didn't charge me fully upfront for her time. And I was like, well, I do.
Yeah.
Do you want to work together? right?
Yeah,
It's in here.
choose.
It's in my outline of service.
It's
My
in this
welcome
piece of
pack.
paper. It's all in here.
So yeah, so that's also a good point too, because if you've worked with someone else before, we all work differently. So again, it's just setting those expectations for how you work.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Last little bit on the welcome package and some other high level things. So we talked about like basically summarizing what's on your website. So some key things you don't want to leave out are meet your design team. I think that's really important. Even if you're a solopreneur, like who are you, right? Like they're buying into your service, make them feel good, even if it's you and an assistant or it's just you. Like, who are you? How can they get in contact? Again, they can find all this online and they're probably going to do it that way, but handing them some type of piece of paper or digital just makes them feel good, like a quick reference. It's just.
And when you say who are you, do you mean like maybe just a quick little couple sentence bio?
Yeah.
If it's just if because a lot of people we're on our own for a lot of people, so just
Yeah.
have a couple sentences
Yeah,
of
I'd say something nice and simple.
I'm a certified interior decorator
Yeah,
and I've been in the business this
basically.
long, and my role is to come and make your space
Love
beautiful.
that. Yeah, I wouldn't say
You know?
like got a degree from this place or diploma from
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Like
they
no,
don't
no,
care.
no. It's not.
No one
No, they
cares.
don't. They don't care at all. But
No.
certified, not certified, you can do something like that. 10 years
Right.
experience, specializes in this, right?
Yeah.
Contact information very important. So your office phone number, personal cell phone if you give it, yes or no. Any important email addresses, your social handles, right? Again, make it easy for them. Find more
Yeah.
about you,
Yeah.
right? Have them share and remember, this is a great tool that they can hand off to a friend and show,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I worked with Claire and she
Right.
gave me this.
Yep.
Here, take a look. And then the FAQs. That was the big piece that we didn't talk about. So this is
Yes.
as I said, a great place to put the
Perfect.
answers to the tough questions that you don't want to have maybe face to face right away or don't want to run into later.
Yeah. So yeah, and we can give some examples of that. I know we talked about, but I mean, how you work with your designer discount. People always, because at some point, and when you're new, I know, because I was like, we're just going to go to the store and hopefully I'll just go purchase it and I'll get my 15% and they don't need to know. And, that doesn't work. You got to be upfront. You got to say, listen, this is how, and however you work is how you work. So again, we're not going to start telling you how to do your discounts and stuff like that, but just be upfront with your clients about how you work your discount, because that's one of the reasons, that's a bonus of working with a designer is that, there are benefits and this is them, but, don't give it all away. That's all I'll say on that. And then I think a lot of times people have the myth that, we're going to take control of the project and you're not going to have a say. And if you are that designer, I do know a couple girls that say, if you're working with me, I meet you once and then I go away and you don't have any input. But that's not how I work. That's not how I think most people work. It should be collaborative in my opinion. But, again, let them know. So, and how do you work with trades? Trades is always a good one. Like, are you hiring the trades? Am I paying you? Again, so going to those FAQs that, and just think that there's usually you could come up with half a dozen that, people are asking you on the phone.
Yeah, and it'll save you time. It makes their mind at ease. Other things, you covered so many of them. Like, do you accept credit cards? Cost for extra hours. Again, if this is a tool that we're using before the actual project is signed and they've paid a deposit, you might as well just have them answer these questions in advance. It's going to save you time, because if there's something on here that is important to me as the designer and I'm not going to budge on, this is the way I do business, you might as well just figure it out now.
Yeah, like if you're talking to a new client and they want to hire, they have their cousin's an electrician and their uncle is a plumber and you, the way you work, right? It happens.
Oh, yes.
And the way you work is that you actually project manage and you hire all of the trades. You need to say that up front, because that later on that's going to be a nightmare when you're trying to when he's not showing up the day he's supposed to show up. So you have to make sure that they know that, hey, I project manage. And then you can also, again, these are the bullet points in the welcome pack with the frequently asked questions, but you can explain to them when you see them why, right? And you can really explain why I work this way, and then they can decide.
Do a couple of these questions. There's some that have been similar, so I was just holding off on answering them. Okay, so a lot of questions about, hey, how do we deliver it? And that's kind of where I'm leaning into next, but there's a couple ways we can deliver it, right? Do we deliver it in person? Do we deliver it through email? Do you use client management software? Really, you can use all of them in some capacity. It depends on how you run your business. I'm just reading and answering at the same time. So it's not necessarily, you can do this, again, the welcome packet can come before the client actually signs off on the project. It's a generic happy.
Why don't you go into that a little bit with MyDoma now? Like, how would you use it within MyDoma?
Yeah, I'll screen share in just a second and we'll dive right in and I'll show how you can do it. I just want to, it's not all about us. Just want to make note that there's different ways you can do this. I think
there are. Yeah.
Someone calls, they call and they say, hey, Claire, been on your website, You say, great. let me follow up. I'm going to send you a package of services, a welcome package for a reference. And in there, there's a link to a calendar to book time, to book a consult with me. Maybe
Right.
it's paid, maybe it's free. It depends how you run your business.
Yes.
But you want to get them through the funnel. So that's,
yes.
So they've called, you send an email back. That's one option.
Mm-hmm.
And then they follow up when you meet with them in person. We talked about this. And then you walk them through it. You use it as a way to guide. Can you talk a bit about that in person, what you do?
Yeah. And I think that's, sorry, I'll just say, I think that's really important, because I think for a lot of times too, with designers, what we can do, and I know when I first started out, for sure, like I was just like, I go into the client's home and they'd be like, okay, okay, I cleaned all up and I want to take you around. I'll show you the basement. I'll show you this. And it's like, and I'm like, okay, and before you know it, you've wasted half an hour maybe walking through their whole house, and I don't really need to see the basement if I'm doing your bathroom and your ensuite. Like, I don't really need to see the basement design, right? If we have time later, great, you can show me. But I also find that with a welcome package, there's a few things you have to consider. One is that people learn differently. Some people are audio, right? People like to listen. Some people need to see some stuff, right? And some people are tangible. They need to have something like in their hands and really be able to understand it. So I think, so that's why I like the idea of, like, you send them something in an email, or they can hop onto the MyDoma site and they can see the welcome pack there. But then when you get into the consultation, if this is when you do it, this is when I like to do it, because I've already sent it to them, but I'm not going to assume that they've read the welcome pack, because a lot of times they're busy and they don't, right? So I like to have, so I have like a folder, and I bring my folder, and then inside the folder is where I have, like, that's kind of my one pager that I use. So I say, because they're like, what do we do? And I said, well, you know what? I really like to sit down with either your dining room or, in your family room, or your island, wherever's comfortable for you. And I really think it's important for us to just go through. I want to let you know a little bit about my services and how I work. And I sometimes I can see them thinking like, oh my God, I'm paying you this much for you to sit down and tell me what you do for 15 minutes. But I don't care. It's so important that they understand and that they know. So it's your way to take control at that initial consultation meeting, because if you just let them kind of lead you astray, and then you're like, okay, yeah, I'm taking notes, and but if you say, this is what I like to do, I like to sit down with my welcome pack, I'm going to show you how I work, then we're going to get into like your questionnaire, and then you can take me on a tour of your house, and I can't wait to see the space.
Love it. What a perfect flow. I just want to reiterate that because it's so good. So email or call you, and then you follow up with, let me send you this digital version of the welcome pack, or let me do it through MyDoma. Then you schedule the consult, you go to their home, you sit down, you walk through the package, you talk about the questionnaire, perhaps answer some of the questions, and then do a tour of the house.
Yeah.
Such a good flow.
Yeah.
The amount of times, I can totally relate. You walk in and they're like, nice to meet you. Let's go see the space. And
yes.
Like, whoa, breaks. We got some questions we need to talk about. We need some answers first. And then we're not at your house for 4 hours when this was supposed to be an hour. Let me get done the big part that I need to do, and then we'll go look at the space.
Exactly. And like I said, and I think too, and again, what you're doing there is you're also, again, you're setting those expectations, you're managing the expectations, you're setting the tone for how you work. You're letting them know that, while they're going to obviously be collaborating and they're going to have some control, but you are in control. Like it's like when you go see a doctor, I don't want the doctor to be like, well, what do you want to talk about? Well, I'm here for a reason.
What do you want to talk about today?
Like, are you going to guide me and explain to me, so I think it's really important. And I think as I say, I know for a lot of designers that when I do coaching, they're just like, I don't know what to do with the console. I'm really kind of confused when I get to the door because they want to take us around the house. I said, don't want a tour of the house. No. Instantly, because you're going to waste half an hour that you don't need to see, and now you've lost control and you don't know how to get back to taking control.
That's right. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so watching the time here, part 3, how do we deliver? So we just talked about different ways you can deliver it. So being that the co-founder of MyDoma Studio, I'm going to show you an optional way that you can take this welcome package and how to deliver it through the client in a couple different scenarios. And I just see someone, Paula has to ditch out.
I just read that too.
Right. Nice
we'll
to see you, Paula.
Recording. We'll have a recording though, right? We're going to share that. Yeah.
So we'll have a full recording. You can watch it at your own leisure. So I'm going to dive in and do a little bit of screen share, show you guys some different options.
Yeah, let's do it.
And you can just basically see how you would use it through MyDoma or through something else, and hopefully it will inspire you. So let me just, I want... Hang on, guys. Let's make sure I'm on the right page first.
I'm just going to say hi to a few people here. Hey, Robin, how's it going? What's very convenient? What's convenient? It's very convenient. That's in a movie, isn't it? How convenient.
Oh, probably.
So helpful. Shalisa. Well, that's a nice name. I'm always wondering what to do during the first meet and greet with a client. Yeah, so take control, right? It's important to take control, take the bull by the horns. You know what I'm saying? That was from Some Kind of Wonderful.
You're so good with your quotes. I love
That's
it.
one of my favorite movies. I send out 4 documents, and one of the documents just explains the answers, a lot of questions of what happened with all the information they just gave me. Yep. So yeah, and again, when you're sending out that information, just to be aware that, excuse me, that that's why I think it's so great to reiterate it when you meet with them, because how often do we even read the fine print of stuff, right? I mean, you so I'm just you do that, Sarah. I'm just having a chat with everybody here.
I'm trying to get the right
Hi, Jen. How you doing?
Which would be great.
The welcome package through my Donut to send the client. Yeah, no, exactly. So Sarah is going to she's going to show you how to do that.
She's working on it. I've got too many windows open, and so I just want to make sure I can still see the questions.
Yep.
While this Q&A is taking over my entire screen. Presume I call in Marco. Okay. I think I'm okay. Let's see. Let's try this, because I want to share the right screen. Otherwise, what's the point? You guys don't want to look at the chat screen. Aha.
Oh, hey, Liza. Susan. Oh, here we go.
What are you seeing right now?
I see the new welcome package, new client welcome package. The price, $0. Good taste interiors.
All right. Here we go. Okay, perfect. That's what I wanted to make sure let's just make that full screen. Okay. So again, this is not going to be a full demo or anything. I just want to give you an overview of how we can do this to deliver the welcome package. So Drew Zinn was actually asking some great questions about creating design packages. So what you can do is, in the scenario where the client has called you and they said, hey, I'm interested in learning more about your services. I'd like to work with you. I want to do this type of project. You could point them, instead of emailing them, you can actually point them to one of your design packages that you create on your Mydoma Studio. So what I've created here is the new client welcome package. You don't charge for it. It's $0. I actually need to sign out, or I'll just sign back in so we can see. So you create this package on here and you point them, say, hey, you can go over and actually download or buy, it's up to you if you want to set a price to it, buy one of these packages. And in here I put like a nice feature image, so good taste interiors, the client welcome package, a teaser image. So this is a part of what you guys will be getting in the download. So you'll be able to edit all this information and brand it to your own business. So I put in a couple teasers for them. I show them what they're getting, the new client welcome package. They can expect a questionnaire, an online consultation booking, and new client welcome package. I put in a nice little bit of text here, what they can expect. Again, it's all about setting expectations. So thank you for taking an interest. Download our free new client package to get started. You'll receive a personal client portal where you can conveniently fill out your new client questionnaire and book an initial in-home consultation with one of our team members.
Perfect.
Our team will take the best care of you. What I'm trying to do here is you can use a client management software. This is all by choice, guys, but you can do this to basically set the expectations, find the ideal client, and speed up your whole process. So you're going to do this through phone and email anyways, so you can just point them right here. Thanks for the inquiry. Great. You can go over here now and try this package and put the ball in their court. Get them to take an action. How serious are you? If you want to work with me, book a consultation. Nice and simple, right? Instead of, when are you free? And I'm free here. Do you charge up front? No, I do charge up front, and this is the cost. So I'm going to go into the package here and just show you some of the pieces that I've put in.
This is exciting.
So cute.
Because it's so, I love being organized, and it's just, and I know everybody else does too. It's just so important, but sometimes we just don't really always know, like, how do we word things, or how is it going to look, or what does it look like? And so this is great.
Right. Oh, thanks, Claire. Okay. I just want to make sure I see the questions here. Okay. All right. So I'm in the new client welcome package. You can name it whatever you want. So Claire, what do you name yours?
I call mine. I call it my outline of services.
Yeah. Outline of services. Just like that. Now the title
Yep.
has changed.
Yep.
You
Perfect.
can publish it or unpublish it. Someone asked about different packages for different types of services, or so you could do a different package that says new client e-design package. So you could do something like that. It's up to you. You can name them whatever you want to name them, and you can have multiple ones. You can publish them or archive them. You can just turn them off if you don't want, if you're in edit mode.
And then when you send it to clients, Sarah, and then you would send them to whichever one you want them to see. They don't need to see like 4 if you've made them. You can send them to specific.
That's right. You can actually create private links now, so you can do that too. So there's a couple ways this can be really beneficial. So I'm just actually going to back out for half a second. So you can have them publicly showing here. So under consultations, I could have like, this is what I want clients to see, and I want them to come here and buy on their own. I embed this on my blog, I embed it on my website, I'm sharing it socially, like come buy. But I can also do it privately. So if you have, let's say you don't do new construction typically, but you do have a special process for that and a welcome package for that. You could, if someone's contacted you, you could create a package with that welcome information in it and have a private URL so they can't see it.
Yeah.
So you keep it nice and secret.
Yeah. That's great.
So if
sorry,
I go back in, yeah.
Someone's just asking a question, but I don't want to lose my train of thought on what you just said too, which I think I just did because I wanted to ask you something on that. Okay, but Diane is asking, have you sent a client questionnaire before the welcome package or only included in the welcome package? So, I mean, I don't send a client questionnaire until they've signed on with me for sure. So, because sometimes this welcome pack, you may just be sending it to them. Like Sarah said, they can look here, then you can say, hey, book me here. I don't want them to have my questionnaire, and I don't want to have it filled out before they're signed on, because now I'm working and I'm looking through it, and so I wouldn't send a questionnaire to clients until they've booked. And then I'm like, okay.
2 ways you can do that. I agree with you. I don't want anybody doing any work until a client has signed, but here's a great way to vet them. So again, putting that ball in their court, you basically you can optionally include the questionnaire in with the package. If I scroll down, I've actually embedded a questionnaire here directly into this package, and so it's a generic questionnaire. It just says it's collecting all the stuff in Google Forms. You can use different softwares as well for making questionnaires. But it's what kind of project are you working on? Is this new construction? Is it a redesign? Is it decorating? Tell me about the project. So you can get them to fill all that out and book time with you and have that paid time. Right. And now you receive the funds, and not only do you have funds, you've also got the questionnaire filled out. So it's saving you time at that consult when you sit down at their kitchen table.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that, because I like to have a questionnaire, and I would say 95% of my clients fill out the questionnaire before I come to their home. And I love that, because it's, again, that helps you take control, and it gives you a kind of a starting off point, right? So if you can have it in there, then all I'm saying is that if they start filling it out and then they're like, well, I'm not sure yet, but I filled out the questionnaire, and call me back and let's have a third conversation. It's like, no, not,
So what happens, there's a couple questions here about specifically getting the client to invite in and how to get them to access. So what happens first is you basically create a package. You call it new e-design client, new questionnaire. You're going to upload your packet, your actual welcome package. So I've gone in here and I've done that already. This is a PDF that I have uploaded, which again, you will get access to, not in a PDF, so that way you can edit it easier. So I've put the welcome package in here for the client. It's pretty simple. You just upload it. I've also put in a consultation booking. So this was a fun little thing I did, where basically the client can click on this link and it's going to take them to your calendar and they can book time directly.
Nice
and easy. You can put other things in. Remember, we use design packages at MyDoma for multiple things. So again, you're not going to put a mood board in. You're not going to put products in. These things won't show up if you don't put them in there.
You could, what you could do though, I mean, if they wanted to, looking at that with the mood boards, I mean, you could put in a mood board in the mood board section, and you could just say, this is an example of what we do, because again, unless you want to make your welcome pack, to be like, 4 or 5 pages. But just seeing it there, I was just thinking that, Sarah, you
Yeah,
could just say,
you could, absolutely.
you could
You
say
could put
while
in
you're
your phone.
there, yeah, you could just see the mood board on the side of the screen, click on that, and that's how we show clients products that that we're presenting.
Absolutely, Claire. Yeah, we absolutely could. At any point while I'm editing, I can press this view store page and I can come in and see what it's going to look like if a client were to buy this. I can't buy it or sign up for it right now because I'm logged in as the designer. But if I go back in, I can just show you what happens. You can look at my projects and I can filter. This is a test account. I'm just going to see if there we go. So when a client buys it, we use the word buy even though it's at $0, it's created in your account as a non-custom project. And what that means is now the client has bought it, they have access to your welcome package, but they also have access to also message you through the system. So there's a question here about a CRM. That's basically what we're doing, is giving you a roundabout way of creating a CRM. So you now have a lead that you can talk to. So this person is not a custom project. You haven't signed a contract. You haven't done anything. You can basically just see what they have bought from you. And now you can message. I can open messages and actually message this person directly. So Tanya yeah.
Can you just say what, I mean, I know what a CRM is. I'm just thinking, what does it stand for? Is it customer relation management or something? What's CRM?
What's the
I'm just
R?
thinking if people don't know. I'm not sure what the R is. If anyone
CRM?
knows.
What's the what? R in CRM? Why can't I remember it? Relationship? Yeah, customer relationship management.
Right. Yes. Okay. Just in case people didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'm like, I don't remember what it stands for. I know what it does, but. So what's really imperative here is that you're able to basically then message. So I can say, hi, Tanya, thanks for downloading. She's waving. Downloading. That's not spelling right. My welcome package. I can't see because my microphone's in the way. My welcome package. Blah, blah, blah. Right? And then you would follow up. This actually relates back to one of Drew's original questions. Was you can then say, hey, if you need to book time with me, please use my calendar link. Throw your calendar link in there again. If you have any questions, feel free to message me and ask. Hope to work with you. Nice and simple, right? Perfect. You've now basically, this is a hot lead, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get email inquiries are good, phone inquiries are good, but if you can make them do something like such as book through your calendar, like sign up this way, like that's huge because now
it's showing that
that's a what we call a warm lead. And what happens here is that when they buy the package, right, to get access to your welcome package, they get created as a client in your list. So they're already here. So you don't have to follow up with what's your phone number, what's your email, what's your address, everything comes in here. So you can actually see what they've downloaded the welcome package from you, and you've got their information in here.
And can you see when they viewed it too, Sarah? Can you see if they've opened it?
Yeah, I think you can see. I think so that you can. I'll have to just double check. I know you can with like custom projects. You can see when they've last logged in and actions they've taken. I just have to double check on the packages that you can do that. What's really cool is that you can then take any of so when we call them non-custom ones, you can take one of these, design package, we can take this and we can press make custom. And now this is actually a custom project. So what that means is, so say somebody has asked for your, they've asked for that design, that welcome package, they've signed up, they've gone through the process, they've messaged you, they've booked time, you can now turn it into an official project. So now not only do you have all their contact information, you can start adding spaces, adding contracts, you're ready to go. You can pull the trigger and get started. So I don't want to cover too much more on what we do because I don't want to do like a full demo here. That's not the point of this. I just wanted to reiterate.
I think it's good for people to see.
Thank you. Just reiterate that we can make that process really easy and nice and clean. And you can deliver that welcome package in a more sophisticated way than just through an email. Because the frustration with doing it through an email is that you now have to organize those emails. Where did our conversation last leave off?
Yeah.
Where's
you
this
go find
way?
It and yeah,
you make it nice and easy. I'm a huge believer. I love technology and online, but I also love meeting in person. So I think using a combination of technology and I'll stop sharing here for a second. I think using a combination of both is really important and just a really strong tool that you can do. Technology's role for me is streamlining that whole process, making it really easy, scale, you can scale, grow your business, the same stuff I talk about all the time.
Yep. Well, because it makes it, as you say, I mean, it makes it that much easier, right, than having to rifle through emails and not remembering when you sent the email. And, you know, because then the other thing you might want to do is you might want to follow up with that too, like, you know, depending on, you know, and again, if that's part of your process, then you say like, okay, then in a week, you know, I'm going to follow up, and then at least you can see when you sent it and everything, you know. And that sort of
Exactly.
thing.
So like imagine that process, you're busy. So many of you are solopreneurs, right? So you get a call, you get an email, and like they call, hey Claire, I'm interested in this, is on your website. Okay, great. You just say, I want you to go click on, you embed the packages directly onto your website. So you just say, if you're interested in booking time with me, click here and you can get started. I use a client portal to manage your project and make everything really easy, whether it's a color consultation or a full renovation. You can sell that super easily to them, and now again, you're putting that ball in their court. Right? Like, go do this, take 30 seconds, put in your email, put in a password, and you'll get access to it. And then I'll follow up with you. You will see, because you'll get a notification that they've bought the welcome letter. So now you know who you can follow up with them easily in app. Say, hey, by the way, knock knock. Like
just checking out what you thought of that. Do you have any other questions, and how can I help? And
exactly, and you're working them through the process, through the funnel, right?
I love it.
Okay, so taking a look at a couple more of the questions here. Have you sent a client questionnaire before, or including the welcome?
I think that's when I was.
That.
Yeah.
Private link. We can talk about that specifically after, Claudia. I just don't want to get too technical at this exact moment, but Tanya can have a chat with you and show you specifically, or we can send a video after on how to do that. CRM software, okay, for using the online forms. So we make it easy for you to embed different forms into MyDoma if that's what you want to use. But we recommend, Jot forms, Google Forms, pretty standard stuff, makes it nice and easy. You can create a questionnaire. You give them the ability to also upload assets to that questionnaire if needed. So is there a picture of your before bedroom? Like, you can have them do all that stuff, and it gathers everything for you in Google Drive. And so you just put the embed code into your MyDoma link so they can view it. And I've just received a note from Tanya. She told me that you can see when the client last logged in for both packages, so the non-custom projects as well as your custom projects. So you can see if they have seen it or not.
That's good. That's really good, because then that could prompt you then, because maybe someone gets it, but maybe they don't look at it for a couple weeks because people are busy, and then you can see after they've looked at it, maybe a couple days later, you could just send an email and go like, I noticed that you had to look at this stuff. Do you have any other questions for me? Never hurts, right? I mean, the worst someone can say is no.
Yeah, right? That's right. And
I'm not interested, right?
Then if you send messages through your MyDoma account regarding that welcome package, you can see when they last saw the message. You can see where they've read to. It's like Messenger. This is very sneaky. It's like, you've only read to here. Let me just send another reminder. Or, hey, I see you're reading my messages and you're not responding. I'll pick up the phone. Give you a call, because I also have your phone number now. This makes it nice and easy.
I'm stalking you now until you hire me.
I want this project. With design fees, do you charge all up front, or do you take a retainer and the rest later? Do you want to answer that one?
So I charge up front for everything. So for the initial consultation, if someone wants to book, I collect an email transfer, and that is usually I book out about anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks out for the consult. And then when people want to, and then I'm at the consultation. At the end of the consultation, I would say probably 80% of the time I have my letter of agreement signed, and I collect the deposit there for whatever services we're doing. So let's say we're doing a 3D design service, and I say to them, okay, well, with the measure and everything, it's going to be, let's say $2,000. Then I need to collect $1,000 today. And then I collect that, and then I request balance 5 days before we come and present. Typically, like literally 90% of the time, because it does a couple of things. One, you're making sure you're getting paid, which is really important, because I've just even seen a couple threads in the last couple of days in the groups with someone saying, like, a couple people saying they didn't get paid, or the client hasn't paid their final balance, or and you never want to be left out of pocket like that, like especially thousands. I mean, even if it's a couple $100, still a couple $100. And again, when you have your welcome package, you can explain this to them, that this is how you work. This is how we take payment. We take payment up front. So I always do that. And then for furnishings, it's 100% of of whatever it is. So I had to collect a check this year for $80,000. That was very lovely.
Yeah.
And even though I don't pay all of my, right, so I'll pay my design center or my procurement company that I work with, I'll pay them 50% usually up front. And then we pay the balance after. But I always have 100%. The other reason why that you do that is I've heard horror stories of people who have said, and this sounds terrible, but like what if someone gets a divorce? What if someone's given a deposit and then halfway through, because you're waiting for some custom furniture, sometimes like 4 months, right? And if things go downhill, or if somebody gets sick, this is life, things happen, and then now they're like, oh, we got to put the project on hold. You're like, but you only invoice for 25,000 of 50,000, and you're like, and I mean, they're going to lose it. Do you know what I mean? But I always take 100% of furnishings up front.
I'm listening, and there's a designer that had that same problem. Somebody took a piece up front, and then they divorced, and they're having trouble getting the rest of it.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. And I mean,
it's a nightmare.
And it doesn't really, the chances of that happening, usually, well, the divorce rate is pretty high. The divorce rate is pretty high in this world, but, the chance of that happening is pretty low. But, and I'll even say to people, like, I don't make a joke out of it, but I'll just say, like, for furnishings, we take 100% up front. Anything can happen in this world. And you can, am I suggesting lying? Sure, you could lie. You could say, listen, I actually had a situation once where a couple were together, then, they were getting a divorce. And he didn't want the furniture. She was moving into a new place, and so no one wanted to pay my balance, and I'm just not going to be stuck in that position again. So I take 100% up front.
Yeah. No, it's 110% agree with you. You're not a bank.
No.
Okay, so I have a serious question for you. We're at 1:03 right now. We said we're going to go till 1 o'clock. The chat's filled with some wonderful questions. So happy. So Claire, if you've got time, you want to keep going through the questions, and then people got to go, they've got to go, but we're still recording. Like, we'll keep it going, just a bit longer than people had asked, or that we said we'd go. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Just wanted to ask first because respect your time. Okay. So do you read the entire LOA when you present it in person, or do you just skip around with the client?
No, I read it all. Go through. I mean, and again, my LOA, which I do have for sale actually, is on. It's a one page. It's a one page. I try to keep it simple. The font's a little smaller than some of the, but no, we don't have to get out a magnifying glass. But no, I go through it full page. And again, I make it part of the initial consultation. So at the end of the consultation, if you want to go forward with design services, I need to just go through this letter of agreement with you, and I just need to collect a retainer for services as well, and then we're ready to go to the next phase.
Awesome. How much do you charge for your LOA agreement?
$47 US.
That's pretty awesome.
And actually, there's two on my website, and I do a video walkthrough with you. So.
You do a video walkthrough of your letter of agreement?
Yeah, I walk through how I go through it with clients. I share that. Yeah,
that's gold.
If I can incorporate video, Sarah, I have to.
So many of our designers ask questions about LOAs all the time, so that's really great to know. So we'll make sure if they aren't listening live, we'll make sure maybe send out a little email and let them know, because I think that would help them a lot.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of great feedback on that. So yes, so walk through it, and don't be afraid. That's where that's what Sarah and I were talking about right from the beginning. Don't skip over certain things like the designer discount or whatever, however whatever is in that LOA. Be really upfront with it, and that's where I tell clients too, no texting. I don't text, and I tell people why I don't text. I take phone calls, I'll do emails, but again, because I just find that there's too many designers. I read things and they're the clients at HomeSense or somewhere going like, oh, check out this picture of this pillow. What do you think? Is it going to go in my living room? And you're like, A, you're busy, and B, how am I really supposed to be able to answer those? And how do you bill for that?
Yeah.
How do you bill for that? Right? So.
Okay, do you give them exact timelines from the first meeting where the LOA is presented for layouts and drawings? At what point do you manage the specific project expectations?
Yep, I do that. Yeah. Actually, I will actually tell somebody usually on the initial phone call, because for us, we're usually about 3 to 4 week turnaround for the majority of if I do a 3D redesign. So I'm doing one right now, and I literally have clients saying, can you come next week? Next week will be 3 weeks, and it'll be on that day. And I said, well, I actually said it's 3 to 4 weeks. And I'm doing a 2,000 square foot main floor, where this is normally for about 1,200 to 1,500. And you also need me to do your master bedroom with an ensuite and a laundry room, so this is definitely going to be 4 weeks. Like I can't, and so I had to let them know, because again, they're thinking, for these guys specifically, they're gonna move out of the house because it's gonna be like a 4 to 6 month renovation. They've got the father-in-law who's going on holiday, kind of in the next few weeks, so they were hoping they could go there when he's out of town. So I want to be upfront. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I'll have them to you in a couple of weeks, and then I don't. And guess what? Then they're getting pissed off because now they're thinking they're going to start in January, and I'm like saying that's not happening. So it's one of the very crucial question I ask on the initial phone call is I ask, what are your timelines like? Because if I hear like, well, the contractor's here now, and I gotta, we gotta make decisions right like tomorrow, or oh, we got our guy booked for 2 weeks, and I'm like, well, I actually can't come for 3 weeks, so maybe I'm not your girl. And sometimes I've had people say like, but we really want to work with you, and then they'll go and change their timelines, and because I let them know, so let them know.
No, you're not stressed out and not frustrated.
Oh, don't be stressed.
Okay, I'm reading the questions as we go through them. Is it okay to go over some of these questions in the initial phone calls or during the initial meeting? Yes, like you can answer. Absolutely. I mean, why not answer? If you're having a phone conversation, it's a great opportunity just to go over, answer the questions. Always answer the questions. Don't avoid the tough questions.
Someone's asked. Sorry.
Okay, so Paula, a little bit on my DOMA stuff. So I'll answer a couple questions all in one here. So do you need to send them a password to get in? So when a client actually downloads the welcome package, they are instructed to put in their email and create their own password. So as soon as they do that and they hit like okay and create an account, it automatically takes their own password they created and it redirects them into the studio so they can see the welcome package, exactly what they got. There's a follow-up email that's sent so they can have their own credentials and they can see what they logged in with. But they're right after doing it, they're immediately sent into it.
Perfect.
Oh, and we've got a poll going. Marco wanted me to ask, which is good. If you guys want to just feel free to answer the poll if you want another webinar on this topic, because there's a lot of good questions happening around, and if it's of interest, we can do another one.
Sorry, someone asked too. I just see Lenore's asking, how can you possibly include everything you should cover in your one page? So the letter of agreement, so I'll just answer that, Lenore. The letter of agreement that I offer for clients, it's not going into warranties of furniture, what happens if furniture's lay, die lots, like that's like the bigger contract that I do after and once we're going into those. So the way I work is I either do like the consultation, as I said, and that's it and I'm done, or I do the consultation and we sign the letter of agreement and now I'm going to, get ready my presentation, I'm going to go source things, and then after that, or if I'm doing a 3D design, main floor redesign, but then it's really, so the LOA covers me for the 3D designs and for the custom packages, but now as soon as they're ready to proceed and now they want to buy all that furniture, that's a contract now. That's a separate contract. There's only so much you can fit, but the idea of the letter of agreement was what I was finding is that if you try to present like a 4 or 5 page contract at your very first initial consultation, they're already taking in so much information at that consultation that I just find that if you're going to then sit down and present them with something you got to flip through, they're kind of getting like overwhelmed. So the one pager, and I just actually had feedback this week from Terry Lynn Davis and Tanya, who purchased my LOA. They said that they actually Terry said, like, I was surprised. I didn't realize like how beneficial it would be, like just to go through this one pager, and they don't need to know necessarily at this point every single detail about, what happens if something's on back order. And I mean, so you have to decide too, the way, again, this is how you run your business. I like to get them through the first phase, which is the layout and sourcing and that. And then the next phase is now I'm going to go and I'm going to procure it and I'm going to arrange just install and deliveries. So I like to break that up into two. So, and a lot of times I don't even need a contract if we're not going through, with them purchasing.
The LOA is perfectly fine, right?
It's
perfect.
Depends
on how far, so you've got design development and design implementation. So we go
That's right.
Welcome package, LOA for design development. So that's 3D designs, concept work, a little bit higher level detail, potentially even into permit drawings, depends on, what you do. Yeah. And then you go into actual implementation. Implementation can come with a whole other.
It's a whole, because if you do renovation, like what if are you managing all those trades? What happens if the trade doesn't show up? What happens? Who's collecting payments for the trade? Like, so there is so much, but like I said, like, I think the idea of the welcome package is to keep it pretty simple, go into more detail when you're at the consultation. But, I just find that a contract at a consultation is just a lot, but it depends what services you're offering for sure.
Okay,
Hope
I'm
that
just reading.
answered your question.
Yeah, like they're happening in the chat and the actual questions. Okay, so do you
Your
use a
LOA
certain?
is 9 pages. Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a long one.
that's a lot. See, to me, it's a letter of agreement. That's why I'm really specific to say to people, it's a letter.
Yeah, a
It's a
letter of
one pager.
agreement difference
That's
versus
a
a
contract as
contract.
far as I mean, and if you want to get into semantics, a letter of agreement is the same, is a contract
It's still a
specifically if
contract.
you're a lawyer, but to me, that my LOA 9 pages, hun, to me, that's a contract. I would present that as a contract.
Do you use a certain app or program for your calendar bookings? Yeah, we're not affiliated with them or anything, but we do use Calendly. We like that one. We use it here internally. We also recommend it. Nice and easy to use. Syncs with your Google Calendar, and I believe also syncs with iPhone.
Is it free? I know you can get a free version of that
You can
one,
get
but there's
yeah.
probably also a paid version,
The paid
I'm
version is
guessing.
very inexpensive. Maybe
Right.
$10 a
Like
month.
$10 a month, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Worth it.
Someone's asking about my DOMA. They would love a second webinar. It focuses on my DOMA component. I have to rewatch the portion to understand how that worked. You do a 15-minute call and you do some demos, don't you, Sarah?
Absolutely. So absolutely have a rewatch, take a peek. I don't want to go into in depth. We do technical webinars as well as weekly demos. So feel free to send me an email directly. In the follow-up email, we'll have some links that you can sign up for a trial or book a one-on-one call with Tanya. These are complimentary 15 minutes. She can just chat with you, help you understand some basics. But if you want to do the webinars specifically on my DOMA, we have those as well. And we'll make sure and follow up with the links.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Okay. Do you handle travel charges outside of the consultation fee? Do you let the client before consultation? Do you let the client, I think, know how much it will be before the consultation?
Yes, I do. For travel? Yeah. So again, that's one of the questions I ask. I actually have a video if anyone's interested. Surprise, surprise. I have a YouTube channel, clairejefford.com, giving myself a little plug there. Claire Jefford, actually. And one of the things I have is a video that says 5 questions to ask on the discovery call. And one of the questions is, I absolutely ask, where do you live? Because I'm not really keen. I don't really like going to Toronto if I don't have to, unless it's a really nice big project, and my trades won't go to Toronto. So I don't want to get too much into the conversation. But also, if I am going to go to Toronto, there's going to be an increased fee because I might be taking a toll road, or I know that there's going to be increased traffic, or depending on the time that I go. So that could add like 2 hours. So I absolutely say to people, you know, where do you live? And there may be an additional cost because I'm located in Burlington and that's an hour away from me. And then again, they can make the decision. I've had some people say, you know what, maybe I should find someone local. And I'll say, well, let me help you. I'll go in my group and I'll find who's local, you know, to the area. And then I can help, you know, because again, I want to give added value, right? I mean, why just let this person go and find somebody else when I can maybe pass it on to someone in my group? Or the client can say, no, we really like your stuff. We love your work and we're happy to pay the extra. So yeah, for sure. Again, let them know. That's a great question.
Do you present the design fee proposal in person or video? Claire, have you done that before?
So I have done the letter of agreement only a few times in a video, and that's only if, again, the person lives far away and I don't want to make the trek out. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, a presentation, yes. So I will do a presentation, not usually for furnishings, like not for fabric. I like to take so they can feel the fabrics, and they can see the wood finish and that sort of thing. But absolutely, I just had a woman who we signed on this week, and she's doing a living room design with us, and she wants concept only. So I'm not choosing finishes. I'm just giving her 2 layouts for the space. And I said to her, if you want, you know, I'll drop the fee a little bit if you want me to email it to you, because she lived like on the other side of Mississauga. So for me, again, it was like 45 minutes to get there, which I did charge her extra for the console. But if I don't have to go back there, I don't really want to go back. Yeah. I'm kind of lazy. So I said, you know, it'll be a lower fee if you don't want me to come out, and I'll video it and I'll send you it, because that's awesome. Yeah, you know, so.
Yeah, so you can do that. Yeah, easily through my DOMA, where you basically upload. So when you don't necessarily need the physical samples to feel, right? You can put in the concept, the 3D renderings, everything in there. You can do that along with the LOA, all of that. And then, have a video chat. Save some time. So if your clients are into that and are willing to, whether maybe they have children, maybe they have off-hour work schedules, and you want to do a 7 o'clock, I don't want to come out to your house. Let's do a quick call and we can hop on it. The great thing is they can log into their account and follow along. So they can see the latest drawings that you've put in.
Perfect.
Yeah, so you can keep them up to date and do that actual presentation.
That's a great feature. And I mean, we're probably seeing that now a lot more with e-design. With people doing e-design in general, right? So that's a really good feature.
Yeah, just email. I don't like email. It's just messy. It asks for mistakes.
It is.
It's so easy to accidentally delete something or get off the wrong thread. Okay,
Sorry,
thanks. Just
someone's asked.
verified.
Sorry, someone asked if I have my contract for sale. Carissa, I don't have my contract for sale. I have my letter of agreement for sale. I don't have the contract up yet. Is there anything else there, Sarah? You
Someone
see?
asked, yeah, a little bit about, there's some more stuff on contracts. Question, someone's asking, Claire, is your LOA like an outline of your contract?
No, I mean, there may be some repetitive stuff that's in the contract, but the contract is just so much more in detail. And I need to be honest, I need to update it. And to be honest, I have a a woman that one of my design assistants, she's my senior assistant. She does a lot of my procurement and ordering my furniture now. So I haven't used my contract personally myself. She implements hers a lot, but obviously I review it and I know what it is because it's kind of under me too. But yeah, it just goes into way more detail. And that's, it is like, well, Kimberly Selden has one, it's like a 15 step, and that's when you're getting into like 5 or 6 pages. So you can't cover that in a letter of agreement. But again, I think there's only certain things that that you need to let people know at certain times. Like they don't need to know every single thing right from the start. That's why the welcome package is so great, to just bullet point the need to know.
Like a funnel. You start at the top, they're on your website, they learn some information about you, you get them into learning about your welcome package a little bit more detailed. You meet with them, you present that, you learn about their house, you get them to sign a letter of agreement where you've got a bit more detail, and then like right down to like the contract. Now we're talking nitty gritty, very, very specific things.
For sure.
You can work them through that process versus, hey, Claire, nice to meet you. Here's a 9-page contract of every single possible thing we could run into. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and then they're going to be like, okay, I'm not signing. That's too much.
That's too much. I'm too scared, right?
Yeah, and you're also building the trust. Yeah, exactly.
But then again, you can say that in the welcome package. You can say, we do at design development phase 1, we do a letter of agreement, as you'll have to sign this. Should we move into implementation where products are being ordered and trades are being organized, you'll then need to sign a contract on how we work and manage those. Yeah. Nice and easy. They'll probably put their mind at ease, if anything.
Well, that's if they're your ideal client. I'm going to have to go soon, though, hon.
I know, we're running out. Okay, so 5 minutes?
I think we answered. Is there any other questions there?
Yeah, I've got another. So you can't see the screen of 5 more questions.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay. Someone's been dealing with a delusional client, but they're still alive. It's been a messy process for them.
Oh, who's that? Who's that?
It was anonymous. So.
Oh, sorry to hear that. That's crappy.
Drew is asking about using Canva for a welcome package. Yes, you absolutely can use Canva to create it if you want to make it a bit more visual, and then you can print it to PDF, or you can print it out as images, your choice, how you want to do it. Lots of great resources in there to make it beautiful.
Maria, thank you. She says it's been a great webinar. It's so nice to have you both helping us all out. And no matter how many,
some of them we don't have to answer live.
Thanks, Maria.
Need to head out. This is great. Are you going to be sending us links? Yes, a couple different questions on that.
So we'll let people know at the end of the webinar what's happening, so they can know what to expect. And
and then there was a question regarding contracts. If someone was asking if we do a webinar on contracts. Putting you on the spot. If it's something you want to do, maybe we bring in another person. Maybe that's something we do talk about when we get into the legalities. See if,
for sure. Yeah, and then the other thing to remember with any contract or LOA is you should have it reviewed by a lawyer in your area. Because the one that I sell on my website, it's been reviewed by a lawyer here in Ontario, but I have that little disclaimer because every space is different, every county. So for a contract, especially if it's 8 or 9 page, always just pay, it's $300 for an hour for a lawyer to review a contract.
So worth it.
It's just worth it. Exactly, right?
Weigh it out. $300 versus a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Nobody's got time for that.
Nope.
Okay, so I think we're pretty good on wrapping up. We had a really great attendance. We hit about 100 people live watching and asking questions. Awesome. So that's fantastic.
Thanks, everyone.
Considering, this was morning on the West Coast and lunch on the East. I hope you enjoyed everything. Fantastic questions. So quick little bit follow-up and shout-outs. So we're going to be sending a follow-up email that will come to everybody who registered for the webinar, and in there you will have a link to this recording. We'll also pop in a couple of helpful helpful links that we did talk about today, including some of Claire's stuff. We'll pop in there. So if anybody's interested in learning a little bit more about her services, if you are interested in attending a Myoma webinar or booking a one-on-one call, we can offer that as well, just to learn more about your business, see if we can be the right fit for you. And last but not least, we'll also include the ability to download the template that we created for the client welcome package.
Yeah, perfect.
And that can be edited to your business. And you can use that as you see fit going forward.
Perfect. And then what I might just do too is that if anyone's interested, I do have like a free services and rate sheet. So it just kind of helps you price out your packages and what to include in your package and how long it might take you to do certain things. So I can, when I send out an email, I can link to that. I can, or add people to that instantly, and they can get it if they're interested. Okay. It's free. And I also do a little coaching video on that one as well.
Ooh, that's good.
You know.
Okay, so you can expect we'll get that email out to you later today for everybody who couldn't attend live.
Yeah, well, this has been great. Thanks, Sarah.
Well, thank you, Claire. This was good. I can't wait till we do our next one.
I know. I love doing this.
Yeah, it's fun. It was really great.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Thank you, everyone. I see everyone saying thanks. And
so positive. So nice.
Yeah, this is great, you guys.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Yep. Okay. See you guys. Thanks.
Bye.